Anene Tressler. Oh my God, here she is. I found Anene, and Anene found me through some mutual friends, and we talked about the journey that Blank Slate Press was wanting to go on, that we were just getting started. And she said, before she ever applied to be an author, she said, I don't care what you're doing, I want to be a part of it. And I believe in St. Louis writers, and I believe in being a part of something that elevates this tradition. So she is a really big part of what we're all about. So to tell you a little bit about Anene, I'm going to read from the back of the book. Anene Tressler is an award-winning fiction and poetry writer whose work has appeared in Best of Writers at Work, The Distillery, Treasure House, Currents, River Blossom, Lit Mag, and Word Rights. While at the University of Missouri St. Louis, she won the English department's annual prize for fiction and for poetry. She has studied, and this is a long list, so bear with me, and which goes to show that others besides Blank Slate Press have definitely recognized her talent. She has studied with Richard Bausch at Johns Hopkins, Nicholas DeBlanco at Breadloaf, Claire Massoud at Sewanee, Lori Moore at Vermont Studio Center, and Robert Olmsted at Rappahannock. She holds undergraduate degrees in communications and nursing from SLU and master's degrees from Washington University and University of Missouri St. Louis. She also teaches script writing and media writing as an adjunct professor at Webster. So her book has just come out. It is, Fred's book has been out a mere month and a half. And Anene's book has been available for really 2 weeks. And here's a couple of the reviews that she's received in her mere 2 weeks. I absolutely adored this book. I rooted for and identified with Father Whiting. In fact, I became him to the extent that that's possible for the duration of the book. I'm not sure how the author did it. Her exquisite writing helped. But she temporarily transformed me, and this is a woman writing, transformed me into a circus-loving priest. On more than one occasion, I was brought to tears by Tressler's description of Whiting's life. Her descriptions of the Circus of the Little Flowers performances were so detailed at times, I felt like I was in the audience. Anene Tressler rates a salute for her willingness to take a chance. Few readers are likely to forget Father Sam in a hurry. And then from two members of the clergy, one who's blurbed the back of the book, a local priest, and one who is a minister in the Methodist Church. So we have a Catholic priest and a Methodist ordained minister. And here's what they said. One of the most remarkable descriptions of a priest's interior life as I have read. In short, Father Samuel Whiting haunts me. And from the Methodist minister, and just as this book is about human failures of one called by God to serve others, it is also ultimately about forgiveness and redemption. It's about grace. So, Anene.
Thank you very much. I have to have some water because I'm not coping. But thank you so much for coming. I cannot tell you how much this means to me. And, well, you know. All right. Father Whiting is a Catholic priest in St. Louis. My book takes place in St. Louis. And he is a man who has led a rather sheltered life. The book centers on his interior life. It also focuses on the people in the orbit of his life. And while his experience is somewhat limited, as a priest, he's been a little bit sheltered. His mother a former actress turned dog trainer, has lived a very different kind of life. Now, his mother has come to St. Louis. She lives in the city, not far from where Father Whiting actually works. And what I'm choosing to read tonight is a description of Lillian getting the apartment ready because her son Sam is going to come for dinner. The season happens to be Lent, go figure, and so here we go. I'm so nervous. All right. Okay. This was the place where Lillian at last had come, the final city on a journey that had taken her from New York to Los Angeles a dozen times over. She lived her whole life this way, as far back as she cared to remember, first as a model, then an actress, then a trainer of dogs. Through childhood to marriage, motherhood, and divorce. St. Louis had been the place where she retreated when even her trained poodles were no longer wanted. She had come to the city by default and had stayed to be near her only child, a son, a priest, a man who chose obedience to a church that she herself had long ago left behind. She stayed even though secretly she longed to go, far away, to L.A. again, or Reno, where the people were, she believed, of a different sort. Used to a good time, open, friendly, not ground down like the old ones on the street. All she saw around her now were people with no imagination, people who had never lived. She promised herself that, no matter what, she wouldn't end up like them. Won't watch the clock and wait to die, she often said. Not like them, never like them, ever. Lillian kept 2 full-sized dining tables in her kitchen, which rendered the small, square room a catwalk at one end. She took her meals at a gray and red Formica table with heavy chrome legs. The table was wedged against a wall so that, although it could easily seat 6, even without its extension, it only seated 3. She kept 3 chrome and vinyl chairs at the table for guests. Lillian would often drag the 4th chair from room to room to use as a makeshift table. An overstuffed chair, the missing piece to a once pink sectional, sat at the head of the table, facing out. Lines of coarse gold thread accented its tired, faded fabric. This was Lillian's chair. The other table, once the centerpiece of a cheap fruitwood dining room set, had been ruined and then abandoned by a previous tenant. Lillian, however, considered it a find. She moved the 2 wide oval table to an adjacent wall, covered its blistered veneer with a lace-trimmed tablecloth, and kept it exclusively for her holiday displays. At first, the theme displays commemorated only Christmas, Easter, Halloween, and Thanksgiving. But over time, she added other observances: Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Independence Day, the equinoxes. Each holiday, she retrieved the decorations from her closet, and then, over the course of a day, she would wash or dust them and arrange them in intricate, if often jumbled, skeins. Throughout the year, Lillian ordered items from specialty catalogs. She often placed these orders under fictitious names. It was, as she saw it, a way of stretching her income. She always used variations of her own name, Whiting, so that Whiting became Wheating or Whitling, Whitson or Wenting. These aliases, combined with her frequent moves, proved a source of ongoing confusion for her many mail-order suppliers. Often, bills from catalog companies could not keep pace and went missing. Lillian also found that her multiple names, even at the same address, allowed for multiple orders. She joined music and book clubs again and again, thus taking advantage of the free introductory offers and paying only pennies for her selections. Other times, either through her own forgetfulness and duplication or a catalog company's error, she would receive the same order more than once. When one supplier sent 2 sets of Baker's clay gingerbread men for her tabletop Christmas tree, she was delighted to have the extras. Usually, however, these duplicates meant orders and gifts for friends. This had been the case when Lillian received 2 Thanksgiving cornucopias filled with fruit and nuts, then a third one when she wrote to the supplier that 2 of the apples in the first shipment had been bruised. In the course of her catalog experiences, she had also discovered that once on a mailing list, it was essentially impossible to get off. And as the companies sold or traded the names of their subscribers, she found that she, and the names that she invented, regularly received catalogs from an ever-widening circle of companies. To her delight and secret pride, these new companies seemed of greater quality. She had, for example, gone from Lillian Vernon to Hammacher Schlemmer, from Swiss Colony to Harry and David. With the exception of adding to her holiday displays, however, Lillian rarely ordered anything for herself. Most of the items were gifts for her son or for acquaintances, the husband and wife who owned Frankie's Market and delivered groceries to her door, to a neighbor or landlord, however transient the relationship, so that they would not complain about her poodles. Sometimes, when she bought a present for her son, especially from one of the nicer catalog suppliers, she made an extra effort to actually pay for it in full. This became a second secret gift that she could give. Neither her deteriorating neighborhood nor her own decline concerned Lillian as she turned her attention to her Easter display. Alone in her kitchen, with only her poodles watching, she arranged multicolored Easter grass in a white glass basket, then filled it with pastel Easter eggs that she had purchased, already boiled and dyed, from Frankie's Market. She straightened the gingham dress of a bespeckled plush rabbit and retied its husband rabbit's tie. The fluffy white pair, nearly 3 feet high, had come from Hammacher Schlemmer. Lillian thought fondly of the store as she stroked the rabbits' hand-painted faces and adjusted their arms so that they intertwined. She turned her attention to a 10-piece farm scene, complete with barn and silo. She placed the farmer inside a partial fence beside a cow and a mother duck, whose 4 small ducklings were joined with a yellow metal chain. She added 4 fuzzy chicks from Lillian Vernon to the painted wood pieces. The yellow chicks, each wearing a paisley bonnet, towered over the plastic silo. She frowned at the discrepancy and moved the chicks nearer to a glazed bisque crucifix. A suffering Christ, done all in pearlized paint, looked down onto a yellow wicker basket filled with Hershey's foil-wrapped eggs. Lillian studied the scene, then moved the chicks to the far side of the basket, their backs to the crucifixion. Thank you. Thank you. I'm delighted.